going on, guys? Nice guy driver. I remember when being an Uber driver around 2017, 2018. I want to say I started the end of 2017. It was actually something that was kind of fun, believe it or not. It didn't even feel like work. The pay was closer to 80-20, which it should have never changed from that. But I think part of the reason why the numbers are dwindling is not just because Uber take rate is getting bigger. That's part of it. But the problem is there's no cap on how many drivers they have in each state. There is no cap. As far as I know, hit me in the comments if I'm wrong. So the problem is if you keep bringing on more drivers, the veteran drivers that are out here, they know what they're doing. They know how to properly set up their Uber business. They have fleet accounts. They spent money for a brand new car. These people are leaving the platform. They're completely leaving the platform. And it's because Uber and Lyft are purposely changing the rules to fit their situation so they don't have to pay the current veterans. Because let's be honest, the new drivers coming on year after year, they don't understand what's going on with the pay. They really don't. A lot of times they think the pay might even be fair because they're brand new to the platform. It's not until they start driving, a few weeks before they realize, you know what? I don't think driving 30 minutes or 40 minutes total between the pickup and the drop off is worth $12. That's the kind of offers Uber and Lyft have come to. I'm talking even with Surge. You may have a ride that takes you 10 minutes to go pick them up, and then it's a 30-minute drive, and you might make only between $12 and $15. But a new driver doesn't understand that that's not. They think that this platform, because it's $1 million company, they think that these platforms somewhat pay fair, I think, when you're a new driver. I did. When I first started, believe it or not, my very first trip, this is my very first trip ever, was from, I'm trying to think what town in Connecticut. It was definitely in Connecticut. I want to say probably Bridgeport. I want to say it was somewhere in that area. Probably Bridgeport to Manhattan. My very first Uber trip. Excuse me. And I made $100. Now fast forward now, I know that making $100 for that isn't even worth it. Number one, they charge the customer easily $150 to $200. I didn't know what I was doing. I was trying to juggle the app, but I was so excited to make a quick $100 my first trip, that I didn't do the math. I didn't calculate, okay, I can't pick up anybody in New York because the different laws or the different regulations from state to state are very different. So I couldn't pick up. It was about a 3-hour drive. That's in good weather. And this day it happened to be bad weather. It was raining. And that ride turned into probably probably 6 hours because you got to drive back. You're not calculating that. All you see is I'm getting paid $100 for a 3-minute ride, and that's my quota for the day. You're not calculating, oh, I'm wasting gas and mileage coming back. You don't figure that out when you're new. All you care about is you see, okay, I made a quick $100 for 3 hours, but you're not understanding the other calculations. I had to spend gas. I can't pick up anybody on the way back. And every year, think about this. Every year, the amount that they're paying the drivers is dwindling lower and lower every year. Every year. I would say, honestly, and this is me being conservative and very generous towards the rideshare platforms, at the very best, drivers are getting 40%. In the best case scenarios, that's for like the shorter rides. Worst case scenario, on some of these longer rides, the driver is only making 20%. And you'll never know unless you ask these passengers what they actually paid. You'll never know. Because when I was a new driver, I would have never in a million years thought to, let me ask my passenger what he paid for this ride to New York. Would have never dawned on me. But as a veteran driver, I have no fear on asking, a passenger, you know what, how much did you pay for this? I had no clue that I could do side rides. Well, it's breaking the terms of service. But when you figure out the math, it's almost worth the risk. And a lot of people don't understand that Dare was right about one thing. This was meant to be a part-time gig. This was not meant to replace your full-time job. Even though people, because the earnings were so high in the beginning, this quickly became a side hustle that could replace your job. And everybody told everybody about it. Everybody, when they're unemployed or don't have a job, now they know they can come to Uber or Lyft or Instacart or Spark. They know that they have these gigs, so they tend to try to rely on it like they did their job, and it doesn't work. Because from day to day, your earnings will never stay exactly the same. Some days you're going to have to drive a lot longer to make only $100. Some days you might only be able to do it in 3 hours. You might be able to just ride around, get the right rides, cherry pick the right offers, and make $100 in 3 hours. That's possible. But is it sustainable every day? No. And that's the problem. We need to treat Uber, Lyft, all these side gig economy jobs as a part-time side hustle. And we can no longer rely on it as a full-time income. And the people that complain the most are the ones relying on this as a full-time job. I think it's time to focus on making this only your part-time gig and finding something else to do. Now, that doesn't mean necessarily go get a job. Doesn't necessarily mean go get a job, but it does mean you have to start another side business that's sustainable, or you might have to go get a part-time job, and do Uber, Lyft part-time. That would work. If you have a part-time job, this doesn't feel as bad, but it's going to kill your car and kill your mental health if you do this full-time, in my opinion. So I think it's time now to figure another side hustle other than gig economy, because this is not something you could do for 20, 30 years. It's not. Mentally, physically, and the pay won't be there in 30 years. Gig economy might not be there in 30 years. So this is something new drivers and old drivers need to think about. Thank you guys for your time. Subscribe, like, comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.